What's up, guys? Welcome back to ManCave Collectibles. Coming at you today with a figure review. In fact, we've got multiple figures. As you can see here, we've got multiple baggies laid out here on our review table. We're going to take a look at each one of them. Now, what we've got here is we've got some figures that was sent over to us by Chris at Stan Solo Creations. I'm going to put a link to his Instagram as well as his Etsy page in the description of this video. So go check him out on Instagram if this is something you're interested in. So what Chris does is he produces or reproduces figures from the Star Wars vintage line that we maybe never got, or figures that maybe we did get, but they're extremely hard to come by, or they're just really outside of most folks' price range. It allows you to have one as kind of a stand-in on your shelves if you need that, or to put that figure in your collection if it's just something that's kind of unattainable based on either your budget or just the ability to find it out there in general. And as I said, he also produces some figures that maybe we never got in the vintage Star Wars line that a lot of collectors always kind of yearn for. So for example, one figure that's up for pre-order right now is a Slave Leia figure. I'll throw up some images here of kind of what he's put out so far on this. This is a figure that I have pre-ordered myself. Really excited about it because Kenner never gave us this figure. So he produces them in that same vintage style, in that same vintage Kenner quality. For me as a new Star Wars collector, this stuff is right up my alley. Let's go ahead and let's jump into what we got first off. So he sent over some of these for us to take a look at on the channel. The first thing we're going to look at here is our R2D2. All right, so we'll slide these guys kind of back here and we'll focus our R2D2 right up front. So this is a very familiar face to all of us. This is the R2D2, but this is a version of R2D2 that was considered a pop-up lightsaber version. And I'll show you that gimmick here in a moment. This figure originally, when it was done by Kenner, came out in 1984. I think the lightsaber in it was originally green, which is what we're going to see here. And to get this original figure, you're going to be dropping about $400 to $500 to get it in any kind of decent condition. And that's where someone like Chris at Stan Solo Creations, I think, really can benefit a Star Wars collector because you're able to pick this up at a very affordable price point. Go out and check his Etsy page for those prices. But let's take a look at it. So we've got the R2D2 figure. You can see here, you do have the pop-up lightsaber here. So the gimmick and the way that works is as you move this around, you can see the lightsaber here will pop out. And you have a green lightsaber here for Luke to be able to use, which is obviously, you know, movie accurate to something we actually saw in the movie. So that's really cool. It does appear, you know, I'm not sure if this is actually vac metal. I think it may be vac metal. I'll have to ask Chris if this is actually vac metal here or if it is just a really nice chrome paint. Either way, it is excellently done. When I tell you guys that the quality is there on these, it is really well done quality. But moving around and just kind of taking a look at this guy, you know, we do have the sticker here, very reminiscent of the original, as well as the paint details here on the side. The legs, you know, you've got just those 2 points of articulation there for this guy. Those legs will do the full 360. And, you know, from a vintage figure, the R2D2 figures never really needed stands. And you can see that here. Very easy for this guy to stand up. Now, another thing that Stan Solo Creations has provided on their website, which is something that was never offered with Kenner, is the third leg. So that is something we're very familiar with from the actual movie. Now, this will also work with your vintage R2D2s as well. So all this does is it just slides up into the hole in the bottom, just like that. And it gives you the ability to give R2 that look that he has when he's, you know, really moving around. So these can also be picked up separately, or there are options there also to pick them up with additional droids. So that is our pop-up R2D2 by Stan Solo Creations. Now, again, this is what we would consider a reproduction. So it does not have, you know, any of the, you know, the year stamps or anything like that on it that we would see with the original figure. So it's, you know, it's more easy to kind of pick out a reproduction versus what an original figure would have on it. So this is R2G4. Now this is a little more basic here. We don't have any type of pop-up features on him. So he's just, you know, he's just got that nice teal paint color. He does have kind of the sticker sheet, very similar to what we saw with R2D2 there, but just has more of a teal look. Now, Chris did go ahead and send over the third leg for this guy as well, but that's one of the cool things about out on his Etsy store. You're able to pick up some droids that maybe didn't necessarily make their appearance in the original Star Wars trilogy, which I think is cool. I love droids. I think they're just very cool to have. If you do diorama scenes, things like that, there's always a place to throw in additional droids that, you know, maybe they weren't necessarily screen time droids, but droids are something that you can just be so creative with, and that's something that Stan Solo Creations certainly is. This is pretty much an identical mold to the R2D2, and when we gear him up with his third wheel there, or third leg, you can see there what we got. That's just a really cool little droid. I think on the actual Etsy page, there is a picture of this droid in Mos Eisley. I don't know that he made necessarily an appearance in A New Hope, but so that's kind of interesting. If anybody kind of knows the details of the backstory on this droid, let me know. You can drop that down in the comments. But yeah, just a cool little addition to my Star Wars collection. And I've actually got a diorama that is being done by my buddy over at Would You Kindly Studios. It's going to be a Mos Eisley, however you say it, dio that we'll be able to, you know, pose up some of these guys in, do some pictures for the Instagram page, that type of thing. So I think that'll be pretty cool. And this little guy here, R2G4, will definitely be making his appearance there in our new dio that'll be on its way. So next up, we got another droid here, and this droid I'm really digging here because I'm a sucker for red and black. So here we go. This is listed as K6 on the website, and you can see here it's pretty much, for the most part, the lower body is, again, just a reuse of what we see in R2D2, as well as our other droid that we've looked at, but the top here is where it's different. And we do have the clicking, spinning top here, which is really cool. Got the third leg here for him as well. So we'll go ahead and pop that in. And again, any of these guys you can pick up over at Stan Solo Creations Etsy page, which is in my description. So you can see there kind of how he looks with that third leg. I think that's a great look. And again, any of these, you know, I'm not a Star Wars guru, I would not say. I have seen all the movies multiple times, but I'm sure there's guys out there that are way smarter than I am. So if some of these here we've seen actually made an appearance somewhere in the movie, drop that down in the comments below and kind of let me know at what point maybe they made their appearance into the movie. Now moving on, we've got another droid. We're going to kind of cover the droids here first. So one cool thing that he does, obviously you can see he does a great job of wrapping these up. Now if you're familiar with my channel, what I collect, I'm a huge Boba Fett fan. Here is a kind of a homage droid to Boba Fett. So I think that is really cool there. We got the gray third leg for this guy, but just bringing him in, let's take a closer look at this guy. You can see just all the homage colors to our man Boba all over this guy here. So he's going to pose really nicely. And you can see there, we got that nice click there on R2's head. I say R2. I guess this would be an R2, but it'd be the Boba Fett version. And then we'll pop in our third leg for this guy. And there we go. So that may be my favorite droid there. Now I like the pop-up version there of R2D2, but it's hard to beat, you know, a homage version to Boba Fett. Now, also, I did pick up a few items from Stan Solo Creations myself, and one of those was this. This was a figure that never got made by Kenner, and this is where I was saying that Stan Solo Creations is important from the standpoint that he's given us some figures that we never got, which I think is really cool. And it's figures that we could really never get any other way. This is our opportunity to pick those up, such as the Slave Leia. We've got the Han Solo in StormTrooper costume. So for such an important moment really in time in that original trilogy was Han in the StormTrooper outfit, we never got the figure. So this was something that I knew I had to have while I could get my hands on it. So we got it. So we'll bring him in, we'll take a closer look at him. You can see there that the face is very, very reminiscent of the original Han Solo figure from the original 12. We do have articulation there in the neck. It is tight, but you do have that articulation there. And then obviously, you know, if you're familiar with Kenner figures, you know where this is. This is 5 points of articulation in the 2 hips and the 2 shoulders, forward and back. He does come with a reproduction blaster as well. And you can see that he holds that just fine there in his hand. And then we can also pop on the StormTrooper helmet there. And you can see we've got, now you've either got a Stormtrooper, if you're Army building Stormtroopers, or you've got Han in his Stormtrooper outfit. So I think that was a super, super cool creation by Stan Solo Creations. And we'll move this guy back here in line with the rest of these figures. And I'll bring out, here in a moment, we'll bring out actually like an original Stormtrooper, an original R2, and we'll kind of show you the comparisons between the reproductions and the original versions. Next up here, we have another Stormtrooper. So this is actually an original Stormtrooper reproduction. So this one, the helmet does not remove. We actually have no articulation in the neck portion there. We've got a reproduction blaster. This one does come in the blue versus the black like what we got with Han there, but you can see that even in the leg portion here, it is going to run pretty much identical to what we see with the original Stormtroopers. So there on the right is an original Stormtrooper from my collection. So you can see just from a height standpoint, the size, I mean, it literally looks like they took the original mold and made this Stormtrooper. So if this is something you want, if you're Army building Stormtroopers and you don't want kind of this yellowing white color that I have with one of my originals, you can always go with a reproduction version and be able to, you know, kind of deck out an army of Stormtroopers that are really in like new condition versus what you would see here with my original. Now, one thing too, you look on the back of the thigh here of the original, you do have, you know, the Hong Kong 1977. So one thing Chris did is he did not recreate that. This actually has SS on it for Stan Solo on the back of this thigh. So that will also help prevent folks from, you know, trying to hoodoo collectors and sell you something that's a reproduction as an original. And I don't think that is Stan Solo's intentions at all with what he's doing here. It's really more along the lines to help us collectors be able to get our hands on some things that maybe we hadn't had an opportunity, or maybe would never have an opportunity to be able to get. But you can just see how well he has done here, and the quality of these plastics. I mean, really, at the end of the day, they feel identical. There's really nothing I can say that would tell me there's a difference in the two of them outside of that stamp there on the back of the thigh. And then the last item that we'll take a look at here is also something from the movie. So R2D2, at one point when he's on Jabba's sail barge, R2 has a drink tray that he is carrying around. So something that he has produced is a drink tray here. I think we do need to pull the third wheel, or third leg, I keep calling that third wheel, the third leg off. And you can see the drink tray just fits right over R2. So if you wanted to have that look for some reason, say you have maybe the sail barge and you want to be able to recreate that scene in the movie, there you go. That's something you can pick up on the Etsy page. And it fits perfectly over your R2, whether it's a vintage R2 or whether it is one of the reproductions here like what we have in front of us, it's going to fit just fine. So what I've got here is I've got one of the telescoping R2D2s. Now this is an original, as you can see here on the bottom. It does have the Hong Kong, the 1977 logoing there on the bottom. And as we said, that's one thing. If you look at Stan Solo's versions, they don't have that on the bottom. He did not reproduce it in order to, make it, basically be able to differentiate between the two. So I do think that was a good thing to leave those original markings off. That way us collectors are not able to really be shafted online purchasing that type of thing. But you can see here, these are virtually identical. Outside of the fact this is a reproduction pop-up, this is an original telescoping version. And then obviously this one is a lot cleaner and pretty much in perfect mint condition versus mine. It does pretty good condition here, but it does have a little bit of wear and tear on it. So guys, there we have it. That was just a quick little video I wanted to do to kind of get maybe some word and some information out there about some of these smaller companies that are really making super good quality figures. I'll tell you, when you put these things in your hand, you will not be able to tell the difference between this and Kenner from a quality standpoint. In fact, it may even be slightly better than the Kenner quality, which we were getting back in the 70s and 80s. Things have come a long ways since then. And again, this is not me telling you to replace your vintage Star Wars with reproductions, but I think what this is this is just a good opportunity to add in some cool things that were never made by Kenner, such as our Han Solo Stormtrooper. There's droids here. You know, where else can you get a Boba Fett homage droid? So I've got a couple pre-orders set up with him for figures that he has coming out here soon or in the future. Go over and check him out on the Etsy page. Check out his Instagram. Give him a follow. He does a lot of updating there on the Instagram page for things that are coming or things that are currently in production. So that's pretty cool. Drop comments down below at what you guys think of Stan Solo creations, vintage reproductions, and original Kenner style figures. As always, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you as part of the ManCave Collectibles team. We cover all kinds of stuff, all different toy lines. We do regular toy hunts every week. So would love to have you as a subscriber and a supporter of the channel. Until next time, guys, I hope you have a good rest of your day.